Hello, I'm Mark Sumner, host of the Channel Chat podcast show, and today I have Mohammed Ali, the Group CEO of CyberWaze, in the studio in Dubai, in person. How are we doing, Mohammed?
Well, I'm doing absolutely fine. So as the Dubai weather.
Yeah.
And so as the traffic.
Yeah. Oh my God, there's so much traffic around here.
It is. And since you're in Dubai, this is a thing where you have to bear with it. Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a popular location. I want to sort of take you back actually, Mohammed, because when I get a guest in the studio, I normally ask them a bit about their background. So I normally look through their LinkedIn profile. Now, you started deep in sort of telecoms and network and engineering across the Middle East. Quite a technical background. How did you get into that? What made you go into that arena?
Well, that's an interesting question. And mostly people ask me in my journey and whenever I'm giving any interviews. So basically, when you are into the technical field as an infrastructure and background as a networks, so I was always very curious about cybersecurity, how things work in cybersecurity. That was my interest mostly. So I transitioned myself later on my career from networks to the cybersecurity. And when I was in cybersecurity and doing some hands-on in cybersecurity practices, so I realized that this is the field where we can serve as, for me, as my personality is, so that can be a good combo for me as a network architect. And then if I get the cybersecurity background, so that combo makes me complete and to open a company where I can serve, I can secure cybersecurity posture for the companies in the future.
So did you go into, were you interested in cyber though, when you were a networking engineer? Were you actually interested in it?
See, at that time, so let me recall, at that time, it was 2008 when I started my career. The cyber world is not that evolved at that time, honestly. And those were the days we were relying heavily on infrastructure and network, and the cloud is booming at that time. So since the transition happened and the transformation happened for the technology, I was always curious and interested at the time. But honestly, at that time, the cybersecurity is not that evolving. But later on, once it started evolving and once we see the transition, so that's how make me curious, and I was really get into it and did some certifications in cybersecurity.
Now, you've worked in healthcare, telecoms, critical national infrastructure. What lessons have you sort of learned from those environments that maybe most commercial organizations still underestimate?
But that's a difficult question to answer. I mean, we cannot underestimate any organization, any industry, whether it's healthcare, telecom. The way attack surface is increasing and threat landscape is wide and broadened with the emergence of technology. So I think we cannot neglect any of the industries, and all have an equal parameters where they has to be secure and to build their cybersecurity posture. I don't think so that I can specify any industry, honestly.
Okay.
All has to be.
At what point did you realize that you thought, I'm going to start my own company, I'm going to co-found my own company? Because you probably had a safe job before. You probably had an easier job now than you've got now. So what made you actually think, you know what, I'm going to start a company?
Well, I think last night also somebody asked me, I was meeting one of my old colleague in Aramco, and he asked me the same question. So I'm going to answer honestly the same one. It was not easy. It was a roller coaster ride till now. And when I was on the other side as a client wearing that hat, when I used to work with vendors, so I noticed that there is a huge potential. And when I was working with different vendors, I'm seeing the quality of work. So I was thinking at that time that, okay, the amount of experience what I have and working on the client side, I can deliver better in terms of quality perspective and the knowledge what I have on the other side, which is the vendor. So that really triggers me in the later stage of my career. I mean, the last 1 year when I was in John Hopkins, near Aramco, and then the transition happened. And it's not like one night where I resigned and I opened my company. It was 1 year, keep evolving. And honestly, my soul was dying and I want to be an entrepreneur. I really transformed myself that if I want to be an entrepreneur, there is no other way. I have to burn all the ashes. I have to resign and I have to open my company. And that's what happened, that I resigned one day without thinking anything. I don't have any backup. And
No backup,
no
just
backup,
resigned.
nothing. I resigned. And it was in my mind that what I was doing, but I think that really helped me, because that was one of the reasons, because when I burned all the ashes, so that really helped me to, if there is no way back, There is nothing. I have to do this is what it is, and that's what I kicked them. Yes. And yes, not to mention that there was a lot of sacrifice. It's not when you do this kind of step, it's a sacrifice where your family got sacrificed. You have to do a lot of sacrifice because your time not belongs to you. The time is divided equally. It's everything change. You have to change as a personality, and that's really helped me. And when I started, the challenge what I faced that when you work in any XYZ company, let's say it's Aramco, Huawei, Do, or any well-known companies or HP, you had that brand behind you, and the people start trusting you based on that brand. But once you open your own company, and the business what we have is a cybersecurity is a trust. So it's very difficult. You have to start from the scratch to build that trust relationship, and then you have to deliver also.
Was your wife backing you? Did she think you've given up this great job? You're absolutely mad for doing this.
So that's a very interesting question. So actually, I did two transition at that time. I got married also, and I have my own company. So imagine what could have happened at that time. It was crazy.
Crazy. For those listeners that don't know CyberWaze in the region, can you tell us a bit about your business?
Definitely. So CyberWaze is now global. Is a cybersecurity consulting services we provide, and we are a reseller, system integrator, and our head office in UAE, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. We are just opening our entity. We have to open an office there. We have a global presence now in Saudi Arabia, back offices India and Pakistan, and also we are now opening our entity in Egypt to cover the East Africa region, which is Kenya, Uganda, and we are also on the west side of Senegal. So there are a lot of things going on. So this is over all of our offices in the region. And our focus is mostly we are working with 40 plus vendors in all the technology, let's say cloud, GRC, and infrastructure, everyone. And we mostly focus on we found the new vendors in the market also. We are more interested to find working closely with the client and in the market what's going on. And it's not easy to be as a reseller also and doing the professional services also. We have to do both stuff. And our focus is mostly work closely with cybersecurity heads to understand their pain points. And there is a huge gap here, and there's a huge potential for the companies like CyberWaze because of the need of the governance of cybersecurity is increasing as a regulations perspective here in UAE and across Middle East. CyberWaze is playing their role to secure the posture of the organization in the cybersecurity perspective. So we do end-to-end solution. We do resell and then we switch off. Okay, we help them to build the infrastructure to do the implementation, and also after that we have cybersecurity resources or staff augmentation to build on site with the clients to help them for the operation maintenance and everything.
You said there was a gap in the market. What was the gap you saw when you gave up your job and thought, this is the gap I'm going after? Was it just cyber? Was it consultancy or professional services? What was it? What was the gap?
I think it's cyber also, and it's a consulting because I had some consulting background. So where the gap was when I was working with the vendors, the services was in bits and pieces. It was not fully. If you're doing resell, what I mentioned, I'm doing resell, and then you have to have professional services from other vendors. So the gap was there's a complete end-to-end solution. Not all the organization was focusing. So I realized that I think if we cannot have a whole portfolio at the same time. We cannot have. Of course, you have to build the capability. Cyber is a very big domain. You have identity, you have SOC, you have GRC. So you cannot be an expert for each thing. But as a consulting arm, yes, you need to have a grip in all the arms of the cyber. So that's what I see, that there are very less companies. Of course, Big Four is there, but yes, even a Big Four need help for this of the companies who can assist them. So I realize I think this is the area where end-to-end consulting we can focus, and that's what CyberWaze came in my mind that we should do this one.
Yeah, because CyberWaze spans cybersecurity, AI-driven risk, IAM, zero trust, GRC. Why was it important to build an end-to-end consultancy rather than just sort of focus on a single niche? Why don't you just do that?
So cybersecurity is not only about one specific silos area. Cybersecurity has to be as a layer of security. So if you just focus on one area, let's say we mentioned identity access management and AI, that's not how you secure your organization. You have to do all the layers. You have to be as a zero trust, you have to be as an identity access management, you have to have a proper SOC operations, you have to have an incident response. proper governance, risk, compliance. So you cannot focus on only one arm if you have to be in a consulting. You have to have all the layers of security to protect the organization. So that was the reason.
Dubai has become a major hub for digital transformation. What's driving the demand right now, and where do you see organizations most exposed at the moment?
Yes, Dubai is a major hub, and there are quite reasons for that. Why it's Dubai? It's basically the way. So I can say there are three. First, we can segment this in two parts. Why Dubai is a major hub? It's because of the leadership what Dubai have and how the strategically they focus of smart Dubai, digital transformation, and those were the initiatives where they took. And also is a diversification here in the economy. So in terms of diversification, you have once you have these initiatives of the smart Dubai sector and all e-government system, then of course you need different kinds of tools, you need a different solution, and for that you need different companies all over the region. It's not only specific to Dubai, because of course you need vendors outside MEA region and no other. So that's how the diversification came. Considering that, and then the emergence of technology, let's say AI and all those, there are a couple of elements. So this was the one part. And if you have all these transformation and all those elements, and then there are the gaps. Then of course there are some areas where you need to focus and how to secure them, because once you do is extensive transformations, the gaps evolve. So the gaps are when you are doing digital transformation, you are moving your infrastructure to the cloud, then there are gaps in the cloud security. There are so many gaps because you are moving so many your workloads, your organization is moving towards the cloud, and then you have a cloud provider. There are so many cloud assessment you have to do. So these are the gaps. And secondly, Dubai have a regulations. So it's a regulatory. So you have data privacy, you have so once you have a regulation, you have to comply all those GRs, governance and risk and compliance. For those gaps, the organization has to comply as per the standards and the framework what the regulation is providing. These are the things.
If you were going to give advice to a partner outside the region that wanted to be like CyberWaze and succeed in Dubai, what advice would you give them? If they come to the region and they want to be successful, what have they got to do?
There can't be only one advice. There's so many things. So I think this would help if somebody is listening, and that I can correlate what I did. Basically, we do. So the first thing is the partnerships. So when you are coming as a vendor from the outside, you need to have a partnership with the local company like CyberWaze or any other SI system integrators, because that's very important. Once you don't have somebody strong on the ground, let's locally, that will give you an edge, and immediately that your local partner or distributor can help you to expand your go-to-market approach in the region. That's the first advice. The second advice is you should have a good market search on that. That okay, what are the niche area here? How I can target my customers? Because mostly when I work with the vendors, I ask them their go-to-market approach, and that's very important because based on their solution, they should know okay what are the targeted clients and which industry they should market. That will help as a local partner once they have a collaboration.
Yeah.
So to how to approach the clients properly in that. And thirdly, that they should have a so once they have a local partner, they should have a physical presence here, because that's very important. Because Dubai asks, it's okay to have sometimes you are not there, you're in the teams, everything after COVID, you can have but you should have somebody, if you're not having a physical presence, but you should have somebody as a local, as a kind of channel head or someone should take care here, a physically presence to coordinate and to have
Why is that so important?
it is very important because UAE and Saudi also, they demands, the clients mostly demands a hands in hand, like kind of dealing. They need a physical presence. That's someone representative should come to the office, show the face at least once in a week or a month to ensure that's I think the trust level.
Yeah.
I think that's what, as a cultural perspective, is very important. Maybe in other countries is not very important, but believe me, this is what I realize. It's very important in this region based on the trust, because of course maybe they will give you business if you're not here. But in terms of long-term client relationship, they literally need you as a physical presence to be here, at least for some times, to maintain that trust.
And Mohammed, how do you build trust? So physical presence, the person's on the ground, they're on the streets, they're in Dubai. How do they build trust? They've met the person, but how do they actually establish it?
It's like a whole cycle. So once you meet someone, and first of all, who you are dealing, I'm talking about cybersecurity. So you are dealing with the CEOs and the CISOs. Those are the very powerful people in the organization. I think CISO is the most powerful after CEO.
Yeah.
And you're dealing those head of cybersecurity persons. So you need to, once you meet to them, you need to understand their pain point. That's very important. Where their pain point is. Mostly some of the organization and the consulting firm, because if you focus mostly on your reselling on the specific XYZ tool or services, that's not gonna help. So if you closely sit with them, understand their pain point, that where they are lacking, and in the start, you don't need to do the sell. You don't need to do the selling. Basically, it can happen automatically once you build a relationship.
Right.
First, you have to build the relationship. That's what I did. You build the relationship. You meet that person 1, 2, 3, 4 times. You understand the pain point. Then you meet with him, and then you say, hey, I have something for you. I have a solution where it can help you. Even in that perspective, you are not aggressively selling.
Yeah.
You just need to have, okay, I can do some assessment for you, XYZ in cybersecurity. If you want, I can do as a free of cost, as a phase 1 approach. If you like it, then we can, let's say proof of concept, we say. We can do a proof of concept for you for that vendor. If you like it, it's fine. We can do the comparison analysis. So there is a lot of work on the background. You can do what CISO needs to understand his mindset, and that's how you are building a trust with the person. So it's a whole background thing. And of course, meeting with him and giving him that assurance that you are the one as a provider can fulfill whatever it needs.
What about for new business, Mohammed? Say for instance, I met you for the first time today, and and you were a CISO, and I wanted to sell to you. How would I get that meeting? How do partners get in front of these end users to actually have a chance to build a relationship? Is it LinkedIn? Is it cold calling? Is it meetings? Is it coffee? What is it?
That's an excellent question. And it's not easy to answer. So I always say, even to my team as an account manager and salespeople, that you should not focus only on one way direction. Let's say if you're focusing someone on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me how many CISOs are there? Okay, mostly some CISOs, almost all are there on the LinkedIn, mostly. But how many CISOs are there on Instagram? How many CISOs are watching YouTube? And how many will receive your call? Because mostly they're very busy people. So you need to understand, you have to have a multiple approach to approaching them. Maybe LinkedIn can be one.
Yeah.
Maybe a call. But if a call, you will understand, you have to be smart that how he's approaching you on the call. If you keep calling them, maybe he will get very, disappointed at why you're calling me. So you need to go all the way. Email, I truly believe the email marketing. My sales team argue with me that email marketing is dead, but I believe it's not dead. You know what you do, and it works. When you send an email based on your company, okay, let's say you have a list. You have a list of your CISO or head of cybersecurity where you're targeting. You keep sending them the weekly email about your company, what you're doing as a vendor. Maybe a success. Maybe you launch something. That really building up their mind about the trust, slowly building that, there is an organization. Look at what they are doing. And they will keep to start knowing you.
Yeah.
And eventually, once they have an issue or any pain point, they will start approach you. Okay, I read an email about XYZ company and they have this tool. I have a problem. Let's have a call with them. So you have all those dimensions covered. It's not only single way to approach. The go-to market should have a different parameter.
What if someone was approaching you, Mohammed? How do you like to be communicated? Is it email? Is it voice notes? Is it LinkedIn? Is it phone calls?
I personally believe, and that's what I don't know, I personally believe to have a cup of coffee physically to meet. That's really impactful.
And I got you a water. That was no good.
Needs a
coffee coming out now.
Waiting, where is the coffee? So a cup of coffee. Hey, what are you doing in the evening? If you're busy, fine. Can we have a cup of coffee? I think that will give you a 50% more entry rather on phone.
Right, you heard it first here, channel. Get your coffee out. It could be coffees for closers, as they say. Let's look ahead to 2026. What do you see the top security risks for organizations they should be preparing for right now in 2026?
So many, but I can mention five. Okay, what I see, and when I was discussing with head of cybers and in the discussions, so the first one what they are mentioning is a third party risk management. Since the organization is having a lot of contracts and the vendors, that's gray area is really can make a trouble where sometimes they ignore this element. So once you have a vendor contracts and you have a third party vendor, you need to ensure that how you can protect that, how they're accessing your organization, how you're doing the vendor recertifications. So in terms of governance of that one, the third party risk is as a supply chain risk, which you say. Second, I will not hesitate to mention is the geopolitical and nation state at the moment. The way things are moving is a geopolitically, and there's a nation state attack where after AI, which we will come after that. So there are targeted based cyber attacks based on the nation in your oil refinery and and in your telecom sector, and so those groups are working in all over the world. And of course, that's also the element for the geopolitical. This is something is very important to mention because that's really important nowadays. And that's what we are discussing in our community, the how to counter that. Third one is an identity access management. So identity is not no more as a legacy identity anymore after you have AI. So you have humanized and non-humanized. You have AI bots, and those are you have machines in the organization. They don't know how many machines there. So having a proper privilege access management and identity governance is very important because identity is a something is a it's very easy to enter into an organization. So IAM is the second one. Third one is AI. And the organization is moving towards AI. And once they are adopting AI, then it's very important for the AI governance and the responsible AI and ethics of AI, that how you are securing the AI element. The fourth one is my favorite, is a cyber resilience. So when the organization is under attack, how's your incident responses performing? How's your crisis teams are responding? Mostly organization do have their incident response and all those things. But when there's a cyber attack, how does it happen? How your drills work? So you need to properly have your incident response exercise happen. When in case of cyber attack, you need to have a proper cyber resilience parameter who kick in as a disaster recovery. And then even in the cyber attack, your organization shouldn't face any issues and the backup and storage is working. I think the last one is in this specific region, the regulatory effect is a GRC, the governance risk and compliance. Because let's say there is a for the data privacy, there's a PDPL as a law, and so how UAE government is imposing the regulation. So you need to have a proper controls and the governance to ensure that you are compliant enough.
There is a lot of stuff there, isn't there, Mohammed?
I hope I didn't make you.
No. Yeah. I'm thinking.
I have to cut it because I can speak.
I don't think a lot of companies are thinking about all those threats.
They
Governance, compliance.
no, they do because we mostly work with government and semi-government.
They've got to think about it.
Yes, they are not thinking. They're already implemented this.
Really?
And but this is something as a keep going. And you ask me about this year or next year. I think these are the elements where they should focus more.
Really?
And yeah, they should focus more, and they should have in their cybersecurity posture as all these elements should be catered immediately.
Whoa. Okay. AI is changing the threat landscape pretty fast. What's the good and the bad of AI security from both an attacker and a defender perspective?
So it's something AI versus AI. This is what people are discussing. So see, AI is from attacker perspective, it's helping even attacker. And as a defensive perspective, of course, they are. So it's all about how both sides, how they are utilizing AI. It's nobody's a winner. For me, my personal opinion is attackers is winning at the moment because
Attackers are winning.
yeah, because they need only one chance,
Yeah.
to inject the malicious code, or so how they are doing. So they are improvising their attacking capability using AI. Let's say they are phishing emails who are AI enabled, they are social engineering, they are doing. So you see all those elements, this phishing, and if you see the phishing emails, you know how well it's written, or even everybody got, scam, and you click that. So they are, in terms of improvisation, the attackers is utilizing more effectively. This is my personal opinion. If he goes on a defender side, so what defender is a resolution, how to, if there is a cyber attack, how quickly they will respond. That's how they will use AI. How they can develop their threat intelligence platform. How they can predict if there is a cyber attack for using those AI tools to encounter that. So for that, still, of course, now every tool or every element, they have a AI driven, etc., etc. But I think still, not forget to mention that on the defender side, the core element is that how ethically and in the AI governance perspective, how they are using in the whole AI in the organization. For them, it's a challenge. Attacker doesn't care. He use AI for everything. But as a defender, he have to implement AI tools with all the governance of the AI as a responsible AI parameter.
Yeah. Cybersecurity is rarely delivered by one company alone. You mentioned it earlier in the podcast. How important are partnerships in your world, and what makes a strong partner ecosystem, either from a distributor or a vendor? What do you look for?
I think I mentioned before, and I will add on that it's very, see, if you are providing cybersecurity services, so you need to have a very good relationship with as a reseller, with as a distributor, with the vendor, I mean, partners, and everything, because you have to deal with all those. It's not on the single line you're working on. Okay, I have a good relation with the partner. Of course, you have to go to the distri. Of course, you have to deal with the partners. So it's very important to have this partnership, not only here, even on the global level also, because you need to understand what's going on globally in terms of cyberspace. And once you have into that ecosystem, it will be easy for you to identify a good potential vendor. Okay, and then once you identify the good one, then you have a partnership. You can introduce to the client. So in terms of globally, it cannot be only one element. It can be the all parameters, the distributor, the vendor, the DC, everything. You need to have a very strong ecosystem to do a good business. Because I will share that. I consider in CyberWaze, we do have a tier system as a partnership. So we have a top 10 partners. Believe me, I told my team, and what we do, and we got a very good success, that we treat the tier 1 partners as our client, because those are the partners who are giving us more business. Because once they got any opportunity, they're out through us. They want us to do the professional service and etc. So if we have a close coordination with our partners, let's say account mapping and working together as a force, that really help us as a win-win for both.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever have a time where you introduce a vendor to a distributor or a distributor to a vendor? Do you ever broker those relationships?
Many times we face this quite often, in our industry. Yes, many times, and it was not easy. It was not easy, but eventually for business we have to do this, and for win-win we have to align on the table. At the end of the day, yes, let's work together, let's focus this, and let's win it.
And how do you decide? How do you decide who's gonna be the partnership?
But it's tricky. It depends upon the. Sometimes it's a very political element which we have to be dealing with. That honestly, so it's tricky based on. Actually, I cannot have a parameters on that, but based on the circumstances, you have to decide. Okay, where you need to have your value and where you need to put your hands, in that.
If they buy you a coffee, that helps, though, doesn't it?
That's really help. I'm keep saying that have a cup of coffee outside.
Yes, absolutely. My last question, Mohammed, and I don't want you to sit on the fence, and I don't want you to say CyberWaze. I want you to give me an honest answer. In 2026, in Dubai, in this region, who is the one company you think is going to do well? It could be a reseller, distributor, vendor, system integrator.
Do I really need to name, or I can mention the technology?
I'd like you to say a name. Is there a company that you think will do well?
As a vendor or reseller?
Any company. A company that you think from afar, I think they will do quite well this year, based on your experience.
So give me two things. One, I can mention the company, and the second is I can mention the technology.
Go ahead.
But I will not mention the name. So from technology perspective, what I'm seeing, the pain point for CISOs and head of cybersecurity, they have so many tools in the market. Not in the market, even they're in the organization. To oversee those tools is not easy, in terms of governance perspective, because managing those tools, let's say there is one government organization, they have 60 cybersecurity tools. As a CISO, it's a nightmare to manage those 60 cybersecurity tools. So a kind of GRC as a governance, risk compliance, as a kind of CISO dashboard things, where all those tools as a single pane of glass, it will. So that is very easy for a CISO to decide, because he has to present a report or something to his board of governance. For him, doing everything manually and going to those tools will be a nightmare. So that technology as a kind of sensor dashboard, as a GRC tool, that's something where it's really will be hot cake, and there are a lot of in progress. A company which is doing well, which will do well is, I will not mention the specific vendor, honestly, because I'm working with 40 plus partners. So
You're going to upset
please, I don't want to upset anyone,
Okay.
but they will get a signal what I'm saying. Ransomware attacks it's very common, and every organization have a ransomware attack. And what they do, just very quickly take your data and they put on the dark web. It's not only exfiltration of data, it's extortion, sometimes double extortion. They took your data and then your client data to client data, so the companies who focus on the as a kind of anti-ransomware and the cyber resilience perspective, where your organization is under attack, then you need to be resilient enough in terms of backup and how your data security is working end to end, because after AI. So those vendors, you're going to see well in this year and upcoming years.
So GRC sort of platform-based vendors and anti-ransomware vendors.
Anti-ransomware, cyber resilience, those are the ones.
Great. Mohammed, you've been a great guest. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to
Lovely.
be as a guest.
Thank you.